What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burnout Brighter podcast. My name's Matt. I'll be your host for this evening's events. This will be episode 98, coming up on that 100. Joined as always by my lovely, wonderful co-host, Destinee.
Hey.
And on the show this week, we are incredibly excited to be joined by a developing couple extraordinaire, making a whole world of video games, comics, and awesome stuff. We are joined by Yin and Rell from White Guardian Studios. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. We're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Oh
man, so excited.
I know, me too. We saw Yin and Rell on the Black Voices in Gaming event at E3 just over a month ago, and as soon as we saw them, we were like, we have to get them on.
We have to get them on the show.
So interesting listening to you guys talk. But if anybody missed that, or they didn't know who you were, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, we mainly go by White Guardian Studios. At least we used to go by.
Our company is White Guardian Studios, but if you want to get to know the people behind that, then it's Yin and Rell.
Yeah.
So that would be me and him. We make games, we make comics, we stream.
In a nutshell, anything that we said we wanted to do, we just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
And it has worked out for us up until this time. So we started off in college. We actually were making our own game, and Whitney said my game sucked, and then and it did. And then I saw her game, and her game was good, but her dialogue was like garbage. And so
garbage for real.
So we complemented each other and come together with the good things that I brought and the good things that she brought to the project, and we started actually making that game together, her game together, and even up until now we started implementing some stuff of my bad stuff into her good stuff, and it made a nice, interesting mix.
So now we have this big mix of his characters, my characters, his world, my world, and it's just Celestial's here, and that's pretty much the. I guess I would say the branding of our universe and our stories is all under that hood.
Yeah. And so we took that game that we made together and we launched it. We did a couple of campaigns on Kickstarter. We failed like a bunch of them. When we did end up learning from there, and we managed to succeed in our fourth try, we ended up actually that sort of kickstarted our career in gaming. We went to our first convention when it was PAX Prime. Back 2015,
I think.
14, 15, somewhere around 15.
14, 15.
Yeah.
One of those years.
14, 15,
I think it was 2015 because I believe Joseph was born then.
Okay. And then we ended up going there, meeting a lot of people, and we ended up working with a lot of smaller games, and we ended up making smaller games that didn't really see the light of day because people would usually like drop out. And so we had these infrastructures of games that we was making over time. And then now we're starting to sort of implement that into our business plan. And one of those games, which was a game, we was like, oh, let's make a small RPG. And we had all these good ideas. We literally was taking my old ideas and making it into something really good. And then Fiverr had a contest come up with Ultimate Game Idea Contest. And we took all those ideas and we threw in the contest.
They said submit as many times as you want to. We submitted everything we had.
Everything.
Because to be honest, I may sound cocky, but all our ideas are golden. And even I'm gonna put it like this, and so we went into the contest, and at the end of the contest, we seen number 1. Number 2, and I'm getting mad. Number 3, and I'm like, Lost World should win, right? I was like, no, Lost World should just win. And the last one I got in was Lost World, and then we got in with that game, that small game that we said we make it. It was so good. So then we got to semifinals. We didn't win. We knew we was gonna lose.
Yeah.
Not saying that we didn't have confidence.
There were some biases that we saw going on in the
industry
contest.
Biases, though.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you're going to go with the first or third person shooter over the narrative JRPG.
Right,
Any day of
yeah.
the week when you're doing industry buys, because you can go ahead and you can continue to make money off that. You do microtransaction, all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we're gonna lose, but we're not. We didn't lay down with the end of it. So we start getting people, start doing stuff we never did before. We're getting people like, hey, go vote on us, go here, go vote on us, right? Like go on, like hey, go vote on us. And they even said like, man, you guys had a lot of votes at the end. But we knew that they had to buy. We knew who they were going to go with.
Right.
I said to Whitney, I said, even when we lose, we win, because we can take that thing, say, oh, we were semifinalists of this contest, and we take that and put in every single last pitch that we had.
Yeah.
And so we did that, but also our work in the past, working on games, our Revenant Prince, our game Demon Revenge that we released back in 2015 that we had got funded on Kickstarter, and all that work that we did during that time, we put it in our pitches and said, and it showed that we shipped 3 games. And I told Whitney, because Whitney was working on a game that was going to be big no matter what, called Omari. And when Omari released, on top of that, so
I know Omari.
Yeah. So
dope.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So Whitney is fun. Like Whitney's name was all over the credits, and she was like,
"Yeah, Whitney, that's my girl." Yeah. Oh shit!
She had there for writing, coding. Like there's just a bunch of stuff that she had testing. She had a bunch of things in credits.
I'm so impressed and like just excited.
Yeah.
Another one of us in the industry.
Yeah, it was super exciting to release that. Like, and it was releasing on Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like, oh boy, I hope people will come look at it on Christmas. But it turned out very well.
Yeah, it's a really good game. It's beautiful.
I told Whitney
it is a really good game.
I told Whitney from the door, I was like, this game is going to do really, really well. I told her like a month, probably a year before, like this game is going to do really well. And I was telling her about like position, like, yo, when we release this, then this is what we can go ahead and do. So then we, because actually when we were pitching Lost World, after it, everybody said like, oh, just give us like a build, right? They'll give us a build. And one guy was like, oh, I really like, a couple people was like, I really like it a lot. But the budget is more than, it's like small indie publishers. Budget is more that, but show the build and we'll see, right? So we had like a lot of interest there. And then but some places our games was in competition with things that they already had. So especially what Lost World turned into. And then we end up getting funding from the Humble Fund, and now we're making that
for the prototype.
Yeah, for the prototype.
Congratulations!
What a
guys.
ride!
That's so cool.
Huge long ride.
Dreams coming true.
Yeah. They were not, as far as I was concerned, the dream was it was always there. So it wasn't like a dream come true because I was like already living the dream and I knew what I was going to do.
Right.
I guess. Like from when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be a game designer. I want to be a game developer. I want to be a games writer. And, even if I didn't get into the actual AAA industry, I was like, I'm just going to do it. There's nothing that's going to stop me. So
I like that.
Kudos to you both, because you're both doing incredible things, and I'm so stoked to get even more into your journey in a little bit. But we're going to dive in to some random questions, as we always do at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
And I am going to ask Rell a question.
Okay.
And if I wanted to ask Rell a question about something that I had not prepared for, as I always do,
had all that time to think about it.
Inspiration. I know, but if I think about it before, it takes away from the essence of the question.
I already got my question.
Well, okay. Okay. If you could write for any existing superhero, right? Obviously, you guys are doing incredible stuff in your own worlds. But if you could write for any existing superhero, like DC or Marvel or any of the indie studios comes to you and say, "We want you doing this," who would it be and why?
That's a good question. I would want to write for a character that I could. And it's a good thing he asked me to write a question, right? So, so I want to write for a character that I feel like I have a good understanding what the audience actually wants from these characters, because a lot of times people tend to go into some of these things and they want to write what they want to write and then neglect that audience, and they're going to a way. I mean, sometimes it's real good to do like an Elseworld story and take the character in a different direction. But I want to write a character. I would want. So let me think about that.
I thought you had the character in your head. You started,
That was me buying time.
See, this is the preamble. You need that preamble as you think about this stuff. Destinee gives me so much slack every time because I'll start talking.
Because we know every podcast we're gonna ask a random question.
If I prepare for it, it takes away from the spirit of the question.
That's true.
So I would probably want to write. Because I'm thinking mainstream. I don't want to go indie. So just so.
Maybe
okay, I'm gonna give you time to think about it.
Yeah, give me.
And I'm gonna ask
Yin
a question. All right, so I've just been reading up on social media, and I came across where they said that for Black Panther, they're never gonna recast Chadwick Boseman for that role. What do you think about that?
I think it's a little overboard. He was a great actor, but is there no more Black Panther movies? Are we not going to get?
Well, so they said
what's going on.
What they're saying is that they always knew that they wanted Shuri to take over the mantle because in the comics that's what she does, and I guess they're saying it's happening sooner than later. My personal preference is that whenever the top people change again, they're just going to remake it and recast somebody. So it's kind of silly to say that. But
I think that it is silly to say that, because in the future we don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly. That was my question.
Okay, I was doing a lot of thinking.
That was a very short exchange, so you didn't really have that much time.
I just saw, that picture of, the person thinking. It's all, the math equations and everything.
Yeah.
That's what I just imagined going on in your mind, being where do I go with this?
Okay, I would want to do Cyborg.
Nice.
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
So, Cyborg is a tragic, dark story, really, when you get down to it. But I wouldn't want to do a Cyborg how they attempted to do him. I guess this is a cool way of doing it, where they sort of went into him being this cybernetic and computer hero, which that's cool in a lot of ways, but it doesn't really affect. He's really not effective in the real world in that way. It's really cool to make him that way, and I think a combination of that and things he can do outside in the physical world, would be very interesting. I think in the Snyder Cut, one thing that was interesting was the way that his father sort of explained his powers, and he told him, it wasn't that it's not that you can do this stuff, it's what you won't do. I think that's a little bit of quote. I'm not a direct quote. It was more like what he was not willing to do. He had all his power, and he wasn't willing to do it. So I think that's an interesting character to go with. And I think the other thing about that character is what his struggle is with what his form had become. And how does he sort of interact with the world, sort of being not human, struggling with his human side. It's so many layers to that story. But also I would like to see him, because he's the way that he was sort of presented a lot of times is he's really powerful, but they don't really quite get there with Cyborg, right? It's always seemed like he's a lot of notches below a lot of superheroes around, right? So I think taking him and sort of exploring that character in those ways, his physical powers as well as his cybernetic ability, I think that would be pretty cool. I think I could write that and it'd be interesting.
I would read this comic. DC, call this man right now and look him up in the Cyborg comic, because I love this idea. I think it's so cool.
One big thing, and I'm not sure if, because I know they like to. I believe he does not have the mother box technology in the comics anymore. But I think that to me that made him a powerhouse. That made him. It was because a lot of times a lot of characters, one of my pet peeves is Luke Cage never learning kung fu, and he just swinging around, but he's best friends with Danny Rand, and he was part of the Avengers, but you don't actually see him using any of these techniques. He just wildly swinging around. Character growth, that's a character arc to show Luke Cage in the way that he can grow, leverage
Right.
his punches more, and he become a more effective fighter, which makes him become a more effective leader. People will be able to follow him that way instead of him just wildly swinging punches. I mean, I remember one time I seen he got knocked out by Proxima Midnight when she had came down.
Oh yeah.
And he just he was just throwing, and he got knocked out. And the only thing that saved him was this old lady picked up a brick and started throwing it at everybody. Started throwing, and I'm like, oh, Luke Cage, you know how to fight, bro.
There we go. So we got DC. You call him for Cyborg, and Marvel. We need a new Heroes for Hire. This is such an easy sell.
Yes,
Do
absolutely, yeah.
Because
now
it's about them also wanting to showcase those heroes. Like they created so many, and they put a lot of like characters who are of color just on the back burner. Like I get really pissed off about Storm all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to get some black writers in. Yeah, call him please, so he can like start representing us properly.
All right, I'm now going to throw to you guys, and I'll ask each of you to ask one of us a question. I'll throw it over to you, and whoever wants to start and ask whoever they want a question back, so we get to know each other a little bit more.
Okay.
Balls in your corner.
All right. So I'm gonna ask Des a question.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you, how important is music in games for you?
I was going to ask a music question too.
It's
okay.
I can think of it.
It's really important.
Because then I just thought about the one I asked you the other day. Like, okay, I want to rephrase that question.
Okay.
And maybe probably somebody probably asked this question before. So, what particular music in a game that provided a memorable moment for you, and what was that moment?
Ooh,
okay.
Good question.
So, one of the games that I go back to all the time because I just love the entire soundtrack is Streets of Rage 2. Like I absolutely love that game.
Yeah, absolutely. We just had. I'm gonna let her talk. We were talking about Streets of Rage 4 and music that was missing from it.
Yes.
One particular song that we was like waiting for.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm gonna let you go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm excited that you're excited. That's one of my favorite games. So I think the best beat in that entire is when you get to the baseball field and she's going down and it's just like this dope ass beat and it just gets you so riled up. You're like knocking people out.
Yeah.
So I know for me, I played that in high school, but I look forward to getting to that stage every single time because the music is just so good. So that's my answer.
Nice. Great question and great answer.
Yeah, that was a really good.
But now I want to
my turn.
Hear the answer to that other question that you asked.
How important is music to me?
Yes, because that is actually another very good question.
It's really important to me. I feel like I remember certain scenes in games based on the music more than the dialogue, if that makes sense. For example, Final Fantasy VII, I don't remember shit Sephiroth said in the last fight, but I remember the music
about One Winged Angel.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's just so intricate. There's layers upon layers in that, and it's like a live orchestra, and you're just like, oh shit, it's so good. So, I think music's important. I feel like if the music doesn't vibe with the level, it could bring you down. It could kind of make you not want to play it. So, it's pretty tricky. Yeah.
Oh, I just thought of one. Because remember, I said what I said. Well, I'm gonna go with my answer, because with that question. Because my answer was when me and Whitney went back and forth. Whitney's answer was One Winged Angel. My answer was Batman Arkham City main theme, and it's a very particular moment, when you go after Ra's al Ghul, and it's the music when you're and the ninjas come out. They come out the wall, and it's the most Batman feeling thing ever because Batman starts block with his thing, ding, 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 and he take the sword and he break it, and I'm like, holy shit, look at this is so cool. And like at that moment, I felt like Batman, and the music was going, and you hear that music, it's like, oh, I'm going after Ra's al Ghul, I'm about to get Ra's al Ghul, and it felt so incredible. But it's another thing I just thought about, but was in Tekken Tag, and every time you beat the Tekken Tag at the end, you hear that song, and it's like a nice, serene, cool song, and it went to every single last ending, and it just always stuck with me. And the song where you could just hear it over and over again, it just sound beautiful, and it just made me, it's just like you just go and you just listen
Relax.
to that. I used to just play it when I do game discs. This is a beautiful song, but that I will always remember that. But definitely the Batman Arkham. That's like my most modern favorite.
I think
he said I felt like Batman. I was like, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, right. Perfect. I think for myself, I think the two that always kind of come back to me is Persona 5. Like every time Last Surprise kicks up, and it's just like you're in a dungeon, and it's usually during the escape sequences or around the bosses. That music just gets me so excited. And the other one, which Destinee and I actually played earlier this year, is Lost Words Beyond the Page.
Oh yeah,
that game. Like every time you're in like the kind of storybook world, because that game has like the storybook sections, and you have a section where like a little girl is writing in her diary as she's dealing with trauma and grief. And like when you're in the storybook worlds, everything's very fantastical and light and fun, and then as soon as it cuts back to her writing in her journal, it's like a hard stop, and it's just like light piano music that comes in, and it just like every time we came back around to her writing, I was broken all over again. Like I was just a mess of tears, because it's like thematically what they were doing, and like the music, just how like both from the restraint and how gently they used it at different points, like it just hit me right in my gut, and it just broke me down entirely. So like both of those games, just for completely opposite reasons, but like Persona just gets me so hyped, while Lost Words just devastated me over and over again.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned a game like that. I mean, I don't want to mess up the flow of the show, but I kind of want to ask a question about that. I'm not sure if I could.
Yeah, no, please.
No, by all means.
So because it's one thing that we were actually like sort of talking about, struggling with some small little project that we were talking about, where the story does not have a happy ending. It's almost like a tragic story, almost like I'm gonna just frame this story. Say this story is about a bad mom, or somebody who's in a position, and the character in the child's position looks at that character as a mother, and the child is probably not treated the best. But at the end of the story, because this is just how this particular story, these particular characters work in a much bigger game, but we kind of wanted to explore this story, but this child still has love for somebody who treated them wrong. You know what I mean?
And we'll continue to treat them
and to me, and we'll continue. And to me, I'm like, I don't think people will want to play something like that, even though it's in a fantasy.
It's telling a story.
It's a story, but it's
you can tell a story about an evil person.
You definitely
I don't want
can.
people to feel bad. You know what I mean? Like, this game made me feel horrible.
Okay, so for example, there's a game called One Room, which is like an RPG maker room, and it's about a little boy who's been locked in his room, and a bunch of horrible shit happens to him. Like, it doesn't come right out and say it, and I talked a little bit about it on the show before, but like I cried, right? So at the end of the game, like you realize like his mother ended up locking him in the room because she was basically depressed after her husband left her. Like it gets really deep. But people will definitely play those games, and I think it's because people are looking for something different, and they expect like something different from indie devs. And I really appreciate when people are able to pick something that's not just shooting zombies or building. So like if there's a moral to the story at the end, I think you can sell it. Like with Lost Words, there was a moral. It was about this little girl going through. What was that? Was that me?
No.
Good night, Destinee.
But it was about this little girl dealing with like loss of someone very important to her, and like there were definitely sad points in it, but like in the end you kind of see her build up and like become this adult and like realize all these lessons she learned from that. So while it was sad, it had a satisfying ending, and I think if you can do a game that has a satisfying ending and has a moral to it, then like go for it. Like if it's a game that just mistreats a child, I think that's a lot harder to sell.
The one that immediately jumped to me against something that I played earlier this year, it's a game called Before Your Eyes. I'm not sure if you've heard about it. It's an indie game where the entirety of the game takes place. Like your camera needs to be on because it locks onto your eyes, and there'll be certain sections where when you blink, time skips forward, and like there will be moments where like you desperately want to stay in that scene, but again your eyes are getting tired, so you blink and time moves on, and it's this whole story of this child. And I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but again there's he has or they have a challenging relationship with their parents, and that game has a very rough ending, but the story that it tells and the way that you connect with the characters, for me, I think like more than anything, if I connect enough with the characters and identify and feel what they're feeling and go through that journey with them, it doesn't have to be a happy one, as long as it's some like if I can understand what's going on. It's a beautiful game, and it's heart-wrenching and it's hard, but like
I think
it sounds like you guys are gonna have to send us the names of those games.
So
we can do some research and see how to do it well.
But I think he said something, and it's something that we almost got a little bit of argument about, was
a debate.
Debate, whatever you want to call it. He said something about understanding, right?
Yes.
Because I think when you understand a character's motives, when you can empathize with the character, then even if they're on the which what would be considered the antagonist or the bad side or something, you can see, if you can see why they would do something like that, if you can put yourself in that position to understand, then it's easier to even if a character is
it's gonna stop.
It's easier for you to sort of be willing to accept a character like that, and I think we do a good job with that. In our webcomic where we first introduced the character, and we do a good job with that, and even it's like a mysterious there where it's like an effort to try to turn this character around, and the character, and even in the story, ends up in a position where this character is not going to turn around, and this character is again justified, not how she's treating the other character, but justified in the person that she's becoming and the person that she has to do. Because it's really an origin story for a villain. But I wanted to have some part in it. But the more we talked about it, and the more that she was going through, it's like it's just not going to. It just won't happen because of what her past was and what she has to go through daily, and that even to the point. I don't think there's spoilers. Like she had everything taken away from her. And things that she's seen other people have that she lost, she was jealous of it, and then she wanted to take something away from them because she didn't have anything. So that's sort of like the character, and you kind of said everything taken away from you. You don't have any family, you don't have any possessions, you don't have anything, right? And then you see other people with things like that. Not that I would do it, right? But could you believe that a person like that would be angry and upset at the world and not wanting the world to have those things, and then they would want to, not be such a nice person. Exactly.
I definitely think that's like something that's plausible, but I also feel like for a character who's probably had those things happen, there are going to be some mental issues too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then like you might want to dive into those, like that could be what's stopping her from turning around, or these mental blocks. This sounds weird, but it reminds me of Maleficent, because people were like, why can't she just be evil to be evil? But they were like, we want you to see the origin of what happened to her to be that way. So
nobody wants to see that though.
Nobody really wants to. Nobody wants to see Joker. Like we know him as the evil bastard that he is.
But I think it's easier to show him something like, not that people should empathize in the way that they want to be like him, but
Right.
sort of see why somebody would be like that, because the world is a very colorful place, and understanding the world is the best way to navigate it, because then you know what's happening. You can piece those things together instead of being confused and not understanding, and that can cause depression.
No, I absolutely agree, Matt. I know you wanted to jump to something else. I know, but I just wanted to say, like, I'm so glad that you're taking the time to like really think about this, because I just recently watched like the last season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I was so angry. Like, I got into this huge argument with my friend because I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen it. This is not a spoiler.
No, not JoJo, no.
Okay, if you ever see it, you'll forget it by the time you watch it, because there's so many more seasons. But I just have to throw this out here because you're going to be like, that doesn't make sense. And I think that's like a writing problem. But anyway, so like at some point, this woman is pregnant in an all-female jail with all-female guards, and she hasn't been with her husband in 2 years. She's just pregnant.
Oh, wow.
No, that makes sense.
And so the guard says, no, listen. So it wasn't even a 9-month pregnancy. Like, the guard saw her earlier that day. They say this. And then when she sees her that evening, she's in labor.
Oh, wow.
And so this is how the main villain is born.
Oh,
no explanation.
Like some Warlock.
It was
right.
So, like, I don't know if you've ever seen Warlock, but
I've never seen it, but I was just like, so I'm asking him, I was like, yeah, but like, I'm trying to figure it out. I was like, wait a minute, like, did she really get pregnant? And he's like, that's not important. I was like, why they even put it in the story if they're not going to explain it? Like, okay.
From everything I know about JoJo's, I don't think rational thinking is something that applies in that world.
All of the other main antagonists have a background story.
Well, that's
why it was so weird.
Born in a
shut up, Matt.
Anyway, I think
crazy.
that we'll have to get you guys back on to just do like a full episode on villains, because I find this so fascinating, and I also think there's a big difference between understanding and empathizing, right?
Yeah.
Right. But
empathy and sympathy.
Before we go further down this rabbit hole, I wanted to ask you both about a game that matters to you. So we always like to talk about games that are important to us, or games that got us through a crappy period. So Yin, I'll go to you first. What is a game that matters to you, and can you tell us a little bit about why?
See, I think before I talk, I don't try to ramble on, so it's gonna be a lot of silence. But yeah, okay. So here goes one. So last year, I had my very first panic attack in my 30-something years of life. Never had anxiety a day in my life. And the game that got me through it was Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Nice.
So, I was playing it, and all the music, I'm a huge fan of the original. So listening to the remade music, like the music is just fantastic. So good. And when I was first hearing the battle song, when it first played, it didn't get to that part that, I'm sitting here like waiting for it. And then like later on, it's like, and I'm like, oh my God, there it is. That's it. That's the part. I saw I was about to cry playing that game. But it got me through all of that. Along with like some YouTube videos of like people drawing
for sure
cartoon characters. What is that series called?
Oh, you talking about they blind drawing?
Yeah, they blindly draw something that they don't like. Like they say, oh, draw Goku, but somebody's never seen Goku, so you have to go by a description or something. So I mean, that and Final Fantasy VII got me through that. It felt like months of just being anxiety. In a glazed feeling. So and that was my first time ever experiencing that. I thought I was dying. So I think I went to the emergency. I didn't want to go to the emergency room, so I was kind of, because COVID and all that. So I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and die then. So but yeah, that got me through that few months of
I'm glad that game
I'm glad you're feeling better.
because that game, it's especially with having like a touchstone to it. You played the original a bunch of times and seeing it back. It's just like sometimes you need that kind of familiarity, that safe space, especially in a state like that. I completely understand.
Plus,
Rell, what
it's
about
just
yourself?
a great game.
Yeah, it's just a great game too. And the music, I cannot say enough
Yeah.
about the music.
So, and I was just sitting about thinking about this the whole time. Now I had one at the top of my head, and I'm gonna go with this one. And it's just because like recently, with everything going on, I kind of forgot what it's like to have fun, like playing a game. Because we know we're doing it's fun stuff to do, but when you're doing it all the time, all day, you get mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, I didn't know what that was. So I ended up playing. I actually played this game for research, right? And I was researching, like, okay, let's see how they did it here. And I forgot why I was playing for research. Why did I choose that game?
Because Lost World.
Yeah, but
we
what
wanted
aspect
to
of it?
see how to do monsters.
Was
because
that?
we were
I thought
thinking,
we got the idea of doing the monsters after I played it. Not while I was
the
playing
idea was there. But we had just never
How the hell we come up with that
solidified
idea?
it. Because we were saying, a lot of people like to pet things in games.
Yeah.
So we should probably put something to pet in our game. And so then he said, okay, then I'll do some research. He played Digimon. Which one is it? Next order. And I'm going to tell you.
Sorry, I'm a huge Digimon fan. Go on.
Let me tell you about, so as a kid, I never got to play the original Digimon World. And I used to look at it on books.
Oh my god, I played it as a kid, and I always got the the polished shit or the sludge.
Oh my god, yeah, Numamon. Oh my god.
And every time I got him, I would just reset my game. I didn't know there was a portion after that particular Digimon because I would just completely reset the entire game. Did not want that thing in my file ever.
No. Digimon World 1 made me so upset. I never touched it again. I went back to 2 and 3 plenty of times. One, I was like, I'm not getting
That's
that.
the same thing.
Unless I want it. If I want it, sure. Otherwise, no thank you. Sorry, go on.
So Digimon World Order, I was planning for research for that reason, and I didn't realize that it was basically the only real sequel to that game.
Yeah.
So I'm playing it, and like at first I'm going out there and like I don't really understand what's going on. The horrible.
I'm sorry. I'm cracking up because I was waiting for it to happen. Right?
Was that?
I was waiting.
Oh, the Numamon. That's bull.
And then when his Digimon started evolving, I was like, that doesn't seem right. He shouldn't be evolving right now. And then he turned into the Numamon, and I was like, oh my god, he got to experience it. He got to experience it.
After that, I turned into a very neglectful Digimon trainer to that particular Digimon. He was hungry, you ain't hungry, you good.
You know, but
so bad.
in the Cyber Sleuth games, you actually need those guys because they're like XP boosts. Like they have an ability that gives you like crazy experience. So I like angrily got them. So I
So I was playing. So I start playing the game, and like I didn't really get it. And then I go out there, my Digimon get their ass kicked, and it's like, oh, this is happening. And I'm going through, and it's like I need items, I need money, I don't got none of this stuff. And I'm going and training them, and like I start to understand the game. And then when I understand it, like the magic of your Digimon digivolving is freaking incredible. You soon as it start happening, like, oh, what I'm gonna get, because it's like surprise mechanics, right? But you don't have to pay for it, and it's like, oh, so they're gonna turn in. Then you're like, oh, then they give you like options to like, oh, this is what your Digimon can turn into, and when you train and you battle, it's like, oh, we're gonna unlock a little something to let you know what they're gonna turn into. I'm like, okay, this is cool, and so I start getting in, I start evolve, I start having a lot of fun. I haven't had that type of fun in a long time, only because we just are constant. we literally play games for research, and we're like,
Mhm.
oh, well, this is what they did, and this is what how this worked, and this is how that feel, and this is how that made us feel when we played it. And that game, I just kicked back and I just threw everything out, and I just sat there and played
Enjoyed
that game.
it.
And I just enjoyed it, and I had a lot of time. I still had my game developer mind where I was like looking at it, I was like, hey, this is how they did this, right? Yeah, okay, this is how we can do it. But they got a lot of monsters, and I'm like a person that's like, let's tighten that up.
Condense.
Let's condense it.
Yeah.
And Whitney like, let's do 600 monsters. And I'm like, no, that's
He's
not
a
gonna
pixel
work.
artist, so
It's not gonna work.
he's gonna.
We can
he's
do
gonna be the one that has
recolors.
to draw them.
They did
like
recolors.
600 monsters, please.
Okay.
She's like, oh, can we do it to where like we do the torsos and the legs and the arms and the head different?
Modular
No.
features. Yes.
No, that's even
Modular,
worse.
Yes.
That's even worse.
He was
That
like,
seems
nah,
like-
son. We're going to
That
do
seems-
five,
yeah.
5 monsters.
I'll give you 4 arms, 3 bodies.
And then I'm sitting here like, okay, 600 monsters plus all of their evolution.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm
You're
like,
gonna
what?
have 300 variations of Numamon in various colors, shapes, and sizes, and then a couple normal ones.
Yeah.
But I'm so stoked that you said that connected with you in such a way that it was just
Yeah, it did.
fun,
It was
right?
It was
Because
just
like
fun. It was just fun.
even for us, like we play a lot of games for review or because we're prepping for something, and it's just like
Yeah.
it sometimes a game catches you off guard like that when you go into it, be like, all right, yeah, I'm ready to play this game, and you're like, oh no shit, this is dope. Like
Yeah.
fits with you in that way.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes, and you're like, this is what not to do. They only had 500 monsters. We need 600.
Like I looked at you guys. I didn't look at it all the way, but I looked at the review of that game that was like Fire Emblem and said the next Fire Emblem question mark.
Dark Lady, yeah.
Yeah.
And I looked at like I haven't played it, but I looked at it, and I'm not gonna lie to you. My thing as a developer, like we can do something like that.
Yes.
You know,
Every game you see, I'm like, we can do
we
that.
can do something like
I'm
that.
sitting here playing old school Bust the Groove. I'm like, I want to do a dance game. Let's do a dance game.
Yeah.
Pixel art dance game. Let's do it.
I love it.
I mean,
can't
what's
wait.
that game called? Friday Fun?
Friday.
Fun.
It's making that for a long
That's pretty good game. People like it.
well, it seems
It's
incredibly
pretty-
hard, even on the easiest set.
Yeah.
It looks fun. I haven't played it yet because busy and stuff.
Mhm.
But
Came
I
from,
would love to play that
Newgrounds.
game. I want to play
Newgrounds
it.
game.
You're gonna have like a whole celestial tier. Like, I mean, Persona does it. They have the fighting game, the JRPG. They have the musical
Yes,
dancing
you're
game.
gonna have
like,
all of it.
There you go. There you go.
He's reading our mind.
Right? There you go.
But
And then soundtracks for everything, and then soundtracks even for things that like don't exist.
I'm
Because
excited.
I just commission music sometimes just to commission music because like
no.
Because
You
it's-
commission music because we're working on something, and then that's something. Doesn't matter.
but like sometimes she don't tell you. She's like, "Can you throw in like 2 extra songs?" Like,
Yes,
kinda sound
she
like
does
this.
do that.
She 100% has a Google Drive folder that's like hidden. That's like 500 different monster themes. She's like, I have the music made already.
Yeah.
yes.
I just need the actual art.
So right now, like he mentioned that we actually call that the Celestial Tier Arcade.
Ah.
That's what
And,
we
it-
call it.
and it's going
There
to
we
be inside of the Celestial Tier experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm loving
I
this.
like
can't-
that.
I can't
So-
wait till it's going to be like, when is the Celestial Tier experience opening up in my city? Because it's going to happen.
So, and the thing about it was like one thing that we're doing now is like we're making really small. It's really well. That's what we said. Really small.
At least that's
Uh-huh.
the plan because
Really small.
somehow everything we like talk about, like Lost World, was supposed to be small.
Oh, Lost World.
But then like we pitched it, and then we were like, well, it can't be small anymore.
Can't be small anymore now.
So
because we had to get people interested. in it.
Yeah.
And they wasn't going to.
Right.
People weren't going to invest in a
something
small.
small.
Game. They want to invest in something big. So we made it
Something
bigger.
big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made it bigger and we made it more palpable to the current gaming infrastructure.
Yes.
Where it's
Yeah.
like this game can be built over a long period of time, or this
Yeah.
game can continue to be played over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with Celestial Tier Arcade, at least, and this other thing that we're doing is like we're basically connected to our webcomics. So it's like it's basically a partial. We do like because our webcomics are anthology series.
Mhm.
So we'll do like the one pager, and it's real fun to do that. And then we would expand on that in a little small game. And that's pretty much what we were talking about earlier.
I think that's dope.
Yeah,
That's so
and
cool.
That's so cool.
Because then it also aligns with our thing with White Guardian Studios, where games and comics collide. So we combine our webcomics with that, and and then our larger games like Lost World, Demon's Revenge, and those games. I'm
currently working on grabbing that Steam page back.
From
the publisher.
Oh my god!
But they said contact Steam, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna contact Steam then.
Yeah.
I was surprised it was that easy. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Then now we can put $100 towards a different game.
There you go. I hope you guys get that back soon. But you know what?
Me too.
Let's keep it going. I'm gonna blow right past what's new. We're gonna talk about. I'm having way too much fun talking with them, so we're gonna go right past what's new. We're gonna drive right past that exit. Destinee, I'm gonna throw to you for main topic here because I know you and I had talked a lot about the conversations what we want to have, and we're having a fantastic one so far. But I'm gonna throw to you for the first official main topic question.
Okay, so I feel like we covered it a little bit. Like we kind of wanted to get like an idea of like how you guys met and came together and like started working together because it's so unique. Like we have devs come on and just talk about their own game, but like I said, it was exciting seeing like two people who are like a couple making their family work. And like I know you guys also mentioned like sometimes your kids also influence things that you want to put in the game, and it's like the Cosby with video games. I was just so excited. So like my first question, but I think you answered is you guys met in college, right?
Yeah.
So were you both in there for game art design or, okay, I feel a story. Come on.
Okay.
Bring it to me.
So Tyrell went for culinary. I don't know how.
You tell your story.
Damn.
You tell your story.
I don't know how. Oh my god.
So let me just.
Oh no, she didn't mean it like that. She didn't mean it like that.
Okay.
She didn't mean it like that now.
Okay. I guess you could say I was a troubled child. So I went straight from Job Corps to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. That's where we met.
Okay.
But I couldn't draw at all. So they put me in graphic design to learn how to draw because I was trying to go for game design, and I guess you need to be like a jack of all trades to actually do game design.
Back in that time.
At least back in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So they put me in graphic art to learn how to draw first. I mean graphic design. And because my portfolio consisted of stick figures and watercolor landscapes. And they put me there, and I didn't really understand why, because I wanted to do game design.
Right.
And, but I'm glad I was there because I ended up meeting him through a mutual acquaintance, I guess, because So I had went up to this room and met him. He claims that he saw me from across the room. Or whatever. All that game he likes to throw at me.
His face is cracking me up. Like I'm
And what happened after that? I got my memory cards stolen, and he brought them back to me. And it was creepy.
That's epic, though.
Because
did they clear the shit off your?
I didn't know him. Like he introduced himself
that was
like
weird.
once.
No, she met me before. Met me before.
I met him before, but like how?
And we had a play date. Remember?
How did you get to my room?
We had a play date.
Okay, so I said I'd come and play Madden with him or something. I did not.
There you go.
But I didn't mean to blow you off. I just was playing Tomb Raider.
She was looking for her memory card.
She was looking for her memory card.
She was playing Tomb Raider.
I was playing Tomb Raider.
That's a good excuse.
Without my memory cards.
Without a memory card.
So he brings me back my memory card.
We're supposed to play Madden together.
And then he's like, yeah, so you still on for that Madden?
Yeah.
And so I go to play Madden with him, and I'm kind of whipping his ass a little bit. A little bit. He was surprised. He was surprised.
Whipping my ass. I lost
ultimately.
Okay, I would say, and I tell her all the time, that first drive surprised the hell out of me. Like she's completing passes, she's doing low passes, she's driving, she's methodic going on, she getting the ball out of her hand fast. I'm like, oh snap! When I'm about to lose.
He might lose. So I scared him a little bit.
She scared me a little bit.
And then let him win after that, right?
Let him win after that, yeah. So then after that, we had discovered that we both like video games.
Yeah.
Like, it was we like playing cards, but it was more like a plot for him to like ask me questions and stuff.
Okay.
And then he found out I was in for like art, game design, or that's what I wanted to do, but I ended up. And then I found out he can draw. So not only can he draw, but he can cook too. So I'm like,
nice.
Dude.
Yeah.
I want this for the rest of my life. I want that. You see, that's how he reeled me in. Yeah. So.
No, that's how you got me. Oh,
no, you reel me. Draw? You reel me in.
You
with
gonna be my personal chef, and you're gonna work me on my game.
I'm gonna need you to draw this and make me a sandwich while you at it.
You know what?
That's
it was
my
the
life.
Sandwich.
That was the sandwich I brought. The sandwich I brought. The dry sandwich. Because remember you said it was dry. The turkey and cheese on Italian roll.
Okay,
and a pear.
But then you hooked
and
me
you
up.
said it was dry.
But then you hooked me up with
Monte Cristo.
Monte Cristo.
Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
So,
I'm mad. I was just guessing on sandwich. I'm glad I can throw in these little gems.
I'm running. You had a pear. I had a pear.
And a pear.
Nice.
The pear was hard too.
She was like,
the pear was hard. It wasn't even one of the soft
we was
pears.
like, look,
but it was
pear
just,
was hard.
But it was just that, he had went through all that trouble to bring me that stuff.
See, in college, you get hungry.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to go in the fridge and
find something,
and somehow find some food so that you can eat. No,
what do I have left?
Sweet. That is.
So then you met in college, and then everything kind of started off. And I want to fast forward a bit because I think it's so cool. Because I mean, you guys talked about on the Black Voices stream that you work with your kids, and you try and foster their creativity as well. How did that come about? Like, did they come to you and they're like, "Mom, Dad, I have this idea"?
Wait.
You notice?
How many babies do you guys have?
6.
There's 6 of them, though. 3 of them are not babies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
They're all my babies, but they're not babies.
Well, the oldest one is 13. He's a baby. Get 13.
He's a teenager. We have a freaking teenager.
Oh my god, yeah, he's a little teenager now.
Okay, so I can't.
Guys, I was not even expecting that. I was ready for y'all to be like, we have 2 kids. So y'all really got the Cosby family of games right now. Okay?
So my oldest son, he's usually the more creative one. He draws a lot, and then I went to him one day because we was making this game, and I'm not going to lie to you. This is just my thought. My mindset was like, well, kids' imagination can go anywhere. So I'm like, hey, go draw me a nightmare monster, something to be a nightmare. And we've been using that monster to promote the game ever since.
that dark black monster with the swirls on it.
He made that. It is genius.
Yes. but how did this also really
so
good?
Cool.
So they was like doing a bunch of stuff, right? And so they had like this book that they was like, it was actually like a workbook, and it was like just drawing stuff on. I think it was like a schedule or something like that. So I'm like, hey, give me a monster and like write like a story about it, right?
Yeah, I actually ended up making them a template. I made a box so they could draw the monster. They was doing size comparisons to like a human.
He did that. He did the size comparison.
He did a size comparison
size.
For the monster to human, and then he did the stats.
Yeah.
He did moves, and then he did the story and everything. And we was like, okay.
Yo.
And then we just sifted through it like he's an actual employee. Okay.
I want
this. Okay, this one. All right. Okay, this one's good. This one's good.
That's
okay.
trash.
That's trash. Okay, we're not using that one. Let's do. Okay.
Son, you're grounded for that one.
Like, we sifted through it like
I went through the book.
Employee.
I was going through the book. I'm like, oh, that's hot. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then like.
But things don't come to me unless they are approved.
Yeah,
first,
I can't bring them.
Yeah, because I'll hurt feelings.
Yeah.
I'll hurt feelings.
He said, "What is this garbage? Why does he only have 2 feet?"
Yes.
He said, "Monster." Take it back. Take it back.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yo, it was fun to go with it, and so I sat with him. Because this was the cool part because he almost had like a job now because my other son who was supposed to work with us, he kept like backing out and going away. This was a paid gig, bro. You know what I mean? Like, so my other son, we sat there, we wrote the things together, we did the stats, we sit there, I rewrote the thing, he drew the monsters and stuff. We went over it. We went every single one, and we did that together. And he got for every monster. I think I paid him like $5 or something like that.
I thought it was like 20-ish.
I think he probably did 4.
No, because I know we paid him like
he got
at least $200.
Yeah, $200 something. Yeah.
She said, I was doing the budget. It was about
So we sat there, did that, and like he got paid. And I think he didn't like getting up and then actually work, but he did of course he liked to pay that. Mm-hmm. So and then
isn't that how it all how it goes?
And my other son, he made an excellent monster with an excellent story, but he was lazy, right? And so when he seen us working, he got together, he wanted to come back, and I said no. You know, like
we only got enough money for one kid.
It wasn't like that, but it was like
We'll be holding an interview process on Sunday from 4 to 6. Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. My thing was because I'm gonna go we kept trying to get him to come back, but then after a while, it's like no.
He has some really good things, like that really horse that what was it with the horse, and then he had the blob monster thing.
That was way before. But so my thing with him after was like, hey, now you know when opportunity comes, to grasp that opportunity because you never know when you're going to get another chance to do something like this again. Mm-hmm. So now I'm pretty sure when the opportunity comes up, he takes that learning experience and he's apply it, and he don't want to miss that opportunity because he missed out on some money.
That's a great lesson.
Yeah.
Like, that's really good.
Every day is the Cosby Show in here.
Oh my God.
Every day is something.
Y'all living my dream.
Every day is something. I mean, a lot of times those conversations aren't fun, and a lot of times you end up like repeating yourself because it's like you want your child to succeed for themselves. And you want to provide them because the funny thing about them is like, and a lot of they're very talented. Like I can't one of my sons one time he's like, oh, can we because he's trying to make a way to make his own money, and he's like, can we sell beans out the cabinet? And I'm like, okay, so you spent, so I'm like. So you and listen,
tell that story.
Listen, that's the story. So I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. You got a board game. You got a board game upstairs that you made. That you got stats. You got classes. You made unique classes. He made one class. He made was a pharaoh. They're making their own Dungeons and Dragons game without having even played or known nothing about Dungeons and Dragons before. They got a board that has bosses, that has HP and everything on it and everything. They made a grid.
Like little chips that they can place on it.
So one thing they had, we played the game one time, I thought it was going to be crap, but it was amazing. The enemies had weapons, and if you defeat an enemy, you got XP, and then you can put your weapon on the other character and you acquire their loot. Yeah. And then they had a sheet, which when you gain a different level, you gain these skills and these levels you got.
These skills.
And they had this game that they made.
That's really intricate.
They do it it all the time. They keep making new games, and this guy, he said, we sell some beans? I'm like, beans?
Hey, he knows people gotta eat. I can't.
I'm sitting there like, yeah, but like they're really talented in that, but they don't see the value in it now as kids. You know, they only want to do it when it's fun. If it becomes like something they have to do it, it immediately becomes daunting. But you know, they have talent to do it. Like they do it over and over again. They have bags of trash that I want to throw in the garbage, but I will feel bad about throwing the garbage because they even got to the point where they made cardboard monsters that stand up on the cardboard. They made stands for them. But I'm like, we have a 3D printer.
We can just make the pieces.
With 3D printer, we got walls and everything. But they would go in there and do that with cardboard, and they had like tons of the cardboard, tons of everything together. They would make so many different things, and it's one Dungeons and Dragons in there they had got, and they basically duplicated it with regular paper for some reason, and they start playing their own game. Like one thing I've seen, I was like, what's Pharaoh class? Like, what is that? What did that do? You know what I mean? Like, what is that?
Man.
So they did like
that's so cool.
It was really cool. Oh, they use the sands. He's like, they use the sands and this that way to shit. I'm like, oh, that's got sort of like a high.
That must be like incredible to sit down and talk with your kids and see that they take some of that creativity from you. Like you guys are very creative, and then your kids are really creative. Like I know you said like we have a 3D printer, but like I would be just amazed. Like, oh my God, you did that. So like it reminds me of like some joke that Dave Chappelle did about his kid and make a macaroni necklace and like painting it green. And he was like, man, he's like, you made this shit? And he's like, why are you crying, Daddy? And he's like, you just don't understand. You used to be in my bowls, son. You're making macaroni necklaces and shit. It's like, I get it.
I think, and now we're gonna go more towards the Cosby angle. It's more like it would be cool, and we really would like to like really embrace that. They gotta do their schoolwork, man. You know, like that comes before anything. So, and it's not about the schoolwork that they're learning. It's about learning how to learn. For me, right? Because that's what if you can do that, then you could teach yourself anything. You go out and you learn how to learn. You can learn how to research. You learn how to do the basic math. You can learn how to learn. You can do anything that you want to because you understand the mechanics of learning.
Right.
And that's right. That's why it's not really the material that they're learning for the most part. It's really understanding how to educate yourself.
Right.
And that's what that's something that we sort of struggle with that every day. Like, hey, it's one of our kids, and it's funny because all our kids are homeschooled now. The one who wasn't homeschooled, who's like, he's going way past everything that he's supposed to do, and he's catching up to the other kids. But he never was in school. So him never being in school, I'm looking like what is it that they had about being in school that makes them not do what he's doing? He don't have any constraints. He don't have any infrastructure that the school was giving him. He's free to learn and continue to learn freely as he wants to.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like school has them working where they're like, it's not, it's like,
it's that one size fits all kind of thing. They don't deviate from it. And which is, because me and Matt were teachers over in Korea, and it just doesn't work like that, right? People learn, even as adults, you learn things at a different pace. Some people are very hands-on. Some people can just read and get it. So
it's also like you start to see that spark of something. There's interest there, and it's just like I know you want to talk about it. We'll talk about it 3 weeks from now because that's when we're scheduled to talk about it.
Yeah, right.
And now we have to talk about this other thing you don't give a shit about. But
and it's funny, like. Our kids, every single last one of our kids will plow through science. You know what I mean? They would like murder it. Oh, they would come talk to us about it. They love science. Talk to us about the planet. Talk about Pluto as a dwarf planet.
Rocks.
Talk about this. Talk about rocks. But when it comes to,
I love the way you said that. Rocks.
My issue.
But I like rocks too. So I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
I used to like rocks as well. So maybe it's a genetic thing. But the thing.
I like rocks too. Maybe it's a black thing.
So
I wasn't trying to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Rocks like a
Like amethyst, opal,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
But the thing that they tend to struggle with is social studies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me get this straight. You're reading the answers and you're giving it back to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's what social studies is.
Yeah.
This happened in 1989. When did this happen? If you can't answer that, you wouldn't read it in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the one that really sort of bothers me. Is like, I know you're disinterested in this, but this is probably the easiest one, because science, you got to think a little bit about what they're telling you. But when you're doing social studies, it's as close to the facts, as close to what they're giving you as possible. And all you're doing is just giving it back to them. You know what I mean?
feel like for me, when I took social studies in school, I wasn't interested in it as much because there was nobody like me that I was learning about in social studies.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
The only people is like Malcolm X and
Martin Luther
King. And that was like the only
and
two
Rosa
people
Parks
ever heard of.
And it was like 2 sentences for Rosa Parks. She got on the bus. She did not get up.
Yeah.
It's true.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so funny. That's hilarious.
Okay, let's sneak in one more question before I have 2 questions left.
Okay,
so let's sneak one more in before we go for the home run.
Okay,
because like Destinee and I, like I said, we spoke a lot about how interesting it is that you guys are, you're partners, you're a couple who work together. How is that dynamic like? Like, when do you start to separate, work from play to, a couple versus business partners? How is that whole thing? How do you navigate that together?
Together.
We don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to sit in the room next to each other and make 2 totally different games and then play each other's game.
Okay.
Then we used to just sit together and make the same game. Like, that's just we just sit together and make games probably 90% of the time that we're awake. Like, that just has been our relationship. Like, I think that's why it works for us, because we have the same goal.
Right.
Because we have the same goal, it just works. Right? We have the same exact goal. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to achieve.
Yeah. And there's no like, oh my God, I need to be like away.
Yeah,
I need to be away from my husband because, I need space or whatever. Like, we are together like 24/7.
Now, we do have times where it's like, well, Tyrell, I don't like how you did that wall. You just doing it circle blotches all over the place.
Oh my God, that was literally today.
You need to make sharp corners and not make all the walls the same.
Eerily familiar, yeah.
You mean
what happened today?
And then we have moments where I'm like, you ain't gonna add a screen shake there?
Yes. Oh my God.
Where's the hit sparks?
Like I'm coding for function, and he's looking at. He's like thinking that post-processing is done, lighting is all perfect.
To me,
no, it's not done yet.
To me, it's not done yet. To me, it's not post-processing.
He wants it done now.
Just as much as yes, because that's how you hit me up.
I understand. I do the same thing with Matt. He'll post something, and I'll be like, "Nah, this ain't looking right. Do this, do that."
She'll be also be like, "Why didn't you use this layout?" And I'll be like, "Because I forgot we had that layout. That's why."
Oh no! The worst is being now. Whitney is way more advanced than me, and
you got your arm on my armrest. Thank you.
Oh.
She said, "Excuse you before you give your answer. You are in my space." I love that because she was just like, "I don't need to be like away from my husband. Like we're together."
But you're on my armrest.
Yes, but you're on my armrest, okay?
Now you made me forget, what was I talking about?
Oh man, he was talking
circles,
about
the walls.
Was it the circles on the walls?
No, we went past that.
We went past that.
Damn, it was.
Oh
something
yeah,
important, too.
she's way
Okay.
so she's way more
Oh, right.
advanced to me when it comes to like punctuation, grammar, spelling.
Quality.
She
so
said quality.
Yeah.
so whenever I post something that's not didn't go through the right channels of editing and checking what I wrote.
Yes, all you have
I
to do
get
is
like-
reread it, and you
I
will
get
see
like
the
the
extra
most-
in your post.
I get like the most death stare and like
She's like,
the-
now everybody saw that. You didn't
Yeah,
see that before you
yeah.
posted
Yes, like, and then it goes into people's emails, and then you can't undo
Then
that.
I'm like, well, I could just change it on the website. Be fine on the website. Maybe nothing wrong with it.
Yes, please disregard the last email. Please read this one. Grammar and punctuation.
It make me feel bad. This should be going over. You didn't read it over? You didn't see that? You didn't see that? Why would you, Tyrell? Can you ask me this question? Why would you put a comma there? I don't know. I read it, and I paused when I got there, and you said you
God.
put pause,
I'm
you put
the,
comma
I'm
when
the
it
same
pauses.
way. I write the way I think. So if I stop in my thought, I'm stopping on the page.
See, that to me, I'm the same way. I'm like, there should be a comma here. Why is
This,
it over here?
No.
I'm the same way. When it comes to grammar, it's like, it needs to be right. Everything
Yeah,
else,
see,
well,
I'm
That
not-
does
I
my
can't-
grammar for me.
I'm glad you guys are. I can't accept that I'm terrible. Like when I was in school and you got the things where it's like, oh, find the things that's wrong with it. And I'd be like,
looks good.
It looks good to me.
I think it looked fine. I don't
Stop
see
with all
what's
these
wrong with
trick
it.
questions. This
I'll be
looks
like,
perfect.
there's a period missing here,
Yeah.
and there you go. You know what I'm
I feel
saying?
If it
This says
wasn't
this
to
has-
capitalize something or put a period, I was like,
This says this has 6
Fine.
mistakes. If I just take that 6 and turn it into a 0, there are now 0 mistakes. Destinee, I have one more question. Unless you want to ask something before I finalize.
if I ask my question, are you still going to ask your question?
Depending what your question is.
Okay.
Okay.
No, you can go ahead. Sorry, that was weird because I feel like you're gonna ask the question that I wanted to ask.
But then ask it.
Okay, so I was just gonna ask, like, when you guys are working together, like, and one of you's feeling like uninspired, like, how do you push your other partner? Is there ever a time that you're just like, man, I've got like writer's block, or like, do you guys bounce ideas off of each other? Like, I know you do, but like, and I'm not explaining myself well.
Yeah, I hear what
Like,
you're
I
saying.
inspire him with brute force.
Oh yeah. So I'll be like,
About to catch these hands if you don't finish writing that paragraph.
basically. So it's like, oh, Whitney, I'm tired, and she like, no.
You're not tired. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
get this wall done. I need the icons for this.
Yeah,
I need.
icon. So she
You need to write this comment. You need to
Oh,
do the dialogue for this.
Did you do those comments? We only got
Did
2
you
weeks worth of
punctuate
comments
that?
left.
Did you punctuate it? Did you put
Yes.
those commas in there?
Yes.
You
Is
ain't
there
going
an
to
Oxford
bed.
comma? Is there an Oxford comma?
and that's her way of going about it. I need to get better. I need to get better at it because I quantify my value in making her feel better. Because I would say, we tend to project, right? And
I'm the type of person where if I'm feeling uninspired or if I am feeling down or whatever, I just need to like go and
away.
yeah.
Step away.
Mhm.
But then Tyrell will be like, how you feeling? I want you to feel better. I want you to, do this, feel better here. Take this, he just recently did one of these joints for me. He drew it and printed it out.
Oh,
And,
that's so
um,
sweet.
And
He's like, I know.
I'm like,
It's never enough.
And I'm like, yeah, can you just like leave me alone for like a day or so I can just go chill upstairs
and guess what that does?
Get my brain back to normal. Maybe I'll play some Ratchet and Clank because that's what I'm playing now. Maybe I'll play, something old because I like old games. They make me feel
Same.
good. And then tomorrow or maybe even a few hours, I'll be like, all right, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start working.
Sometimes you just need that you time. But I also appreciate a man who checks on you. And I think that's sweet. But I also think it's good that he steps away when you need your time.
How the song go?
How the song go?
About don't take it personal.
By Monica.
Yeah.
It's just one of them days. Yeah. Sorry.
I take it personal.
He takes it very personal.
I take it personal.
I'll be like, yeah, can you just like do your work and I'll do my work.
I can't do my work when you're
and
not
I'm not doing
good.
my work.
I can't do my work when you're not.
That's how Matt is.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
So
I'm like, my brain shuts down and I can't think about anything else.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to fix it, and you can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Hold on now.
But why though?
Because
if I say that you are not helping when you do that, and I just need to just play a game or something.
It starts to feel overwhelming. Like I get what she's saying.
You understand?
I know.
We have to fix things. If it's something broken out, we're gonna fix it.
You can't fix everything. Sometimes you need to just let the plant grow and blossom.
That messes up my psyche. If there's a problem, I always feel like I can fix it somehow.
What if the problem? What if like the answer to the problem is just give her a little space?
But that doesn't fix it fast enough, Destinee. You don't.
You can't rush the process. Man. You just gotta let it happen.
I completely understand, but like I understand both of your points. But I'm the same way. I'm just kind of like I would like this to be better now. I understand that it could be, but just know I'm not getting shit done until we're both good. Like,
that's pretty much how it is.
Yeah. One last question before we hit the news, and this is something we've touched on a little bit with Chris with the arcade and a couple little things.
Future.
In all of your wildest hopes and dreams, I'm not even going to say when the games come out and everything takes off and everything is selling incredibly well, universally reviewed well, everything's great. Fast forward 5 years from there, what are your wildest hopes and dreams for the future of White Guardian Studios? Where do you hope and want it to go?
Well, we want to remain. I mean, like, do you want to tell us the game that we got out for fun? No good Bruja.
Oh, jeez.
I can go down the line.
You gonna make people think we're not serious about this.
Oh, we are serious. It's just that
we're super serious about everything.
Okay, so
but we just have a lot. We have a lot of.
But it came from everything came from what we were doing along the way, and we start doing something, and this got picked up. We start doing something else, and that got picked up. We started doing something, and they didn't want to do it.
Yeah, like we would literally be like, all right, if we do this now, we have to shake on it. We have to shake on it.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to do.
This is what we do. No, Humble said they about to give you some money if you do this. And then it's like, damn, but we just shook on that other thing.
Yeah, we just shook on it.
Shake again. We're doing that one.
It's like, oh my God.
Something always happens.
Yeah, something always comes up. Yeah.
But so 5 years from now.
Okay, so in 5 years, I think one of the things that we do want to run a lot of things through Patreon. So we want at least 1,000 patrons in 5 years. That's number one. And even so we wanted that Patreon to at least be making about 3,000-4,000 a month through the games that we're actually going to put on with the arcade and games like that.
Of course,
yeah.
And the comics and the physical. Because we send those out monthly as well.
Yeah. So we also are probably going to have, right now we're working on, in 5 years, we're probably going to have about, because we want to do one every year. So I'm going to say we're probably going to have 3, how do we call it? It was like when you compile the comics together. What do you call that again? Trades. So 3 trades is based on the Celestial Tier. And where we want to be is that we want to be self-published at that time. We also, I think one of the most important things that we want to do, we want to make sure that we have a marketing partner, something that's going to market our games.
The way
we
you
also
want
are
it.
going to have what we want to do with Celestial Tier again is to have that sort of connectivity. Our goal is to have that connectivity between our games and our comics, so that everybody's always connected to what we're doing. That's going to expand within 5 years, because we have to keep content coming, and we're creative with what we're doing, especially within the Celestial Tier itself. So I think a monetary number, I don't think that's like, because we just want to be able to be self-sustained,
Right.
but we also want to thrive at the same time. Because at the end of the day, we started off just wanting to make games, but I think now we are sort of trending more towards being, publishing games and comics within our infrastructure. And that's what we want to do at that time. We want to be self-sufficient. I mean, I think even at the same time, being self-sufficient, one of the things that I always read about business is that you should never do things with your own money. And you should, I guess that's what it pertains to credit and things like that. You should never do things with your own money, because, you can lose your own money, but you do things with credit.
I mean, you're still in debt if you
but the way that
credit.
you use it is that you never actually use your own money. So if you lose that credit card, somebody does something with that credit card, it's always insured, right? And so you're not really using your own actual assets. You're using the credit, and then you pay off that asset. It's just something. But we want that for our company. But I can't say what I would want my kids more involved, but I can't say what they would want. Because I can't force them.
Of course.
Make me some monsters.
Yeah.
Start drawing.
Yeah.
So, in 5 years, we want the game Celestial Tier Demon Revenge. I think this is our biggest goal, to be complete.
Yes.
It's a JRPG. It's big. We're doing it in pieces now, but we want that game to be complete in 5 years. That's a huge goal.
That's
and a huge thing for us.
Yeah, that's our baby.
Yeah, that's our baby.
In 5 years, we want you on our TV show so you can talk about the release of your baby.
On to bigger and better things.
Yes.
Well, I wish you two all the luck in the world. And
Same.
I mean, I'm not even going to talk about skill. That is evidently there. The stuff you guys are making is so cool.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see you guys continue to grow and blow up, because I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Let's talk about a bit of news before we wrap here.
Okay.
We're going to be talking, I'm pulling from Eurogamer, Ubisoft delays Rainbow Six Extraction and Riders Republic. Extraction has been delayed to January 2022, while Riders Republic is now out on October 28th. While also coming from Eurogamer by Tom Phillips, PS5 timed exclusive Ghostwire Tokyo delayed to early 2022. So we have a bit of delays coming. So if anybody was excited about those games, know that they're coming a little bit later. Obviously, given the current climate and everything going on with the world, they need some more time to finish things up. Totally fine. Let's move on to a story that I know Destinee's excited about. Coming from IGN, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is a Smash Bros. Alike featuring SpongeBob, TMNT, and more. Which is written by Joe Screbbles. Joe writes, IGN can exclusively announce Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, a new fighting game featuring characters from SpongeBob SquarePants, Rugrats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ren and Stimpy, and more. And it's coming in fall 2021 to PS5, PS4, the Xbox Family, and Nintendo Switch. Now, Destinee, I know you're not big on Smash Bros., but these properties I know have a much bigger place in your heart. Are you excited about Nickelodeon?
I'm excited. They are straight up nostalgia baiting. I did not expect them to
They are.
Straight up. So I'm gonna get it
there.
because those are the cartoons I grew up with. I am very surprised about Ren and Stimpy though, because they
Me
are funny
too.
as hell.
That's the same thing I was thinking.
I was like, really? You don't
Rugrats?
That's what you want to do in a kid's game? I don't know about that.
So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I definitely want to see what Ren and Stimpy are going to do, because I am just really surprised about that. But
I was gonna say, I seen from Our Real Monsters.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's dope.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the possibilities of that game.
Y'all, we should all play together at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I love what they did with Reptar too. I'm like, yo, that's hot. I'm like, whoever's behind this know what they're doing, man.
Yeah. So
to be fair, the Reptar bars are trash.
So very quickly before we hop off this new story, can I ask all of you, what is one character that you wish or are hoping will be added? Because we only got a couple characters so far.
Yeah.
For me personally, I want Aang from Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is Nick, one of the biggest properties that we haven't seen so far. I'll throw it out in the open now. What character, because we've only seen one turtle, we're missing a whole bunch of characters. Who are you hoping gets added to the roster before the game comes out? And I'll just throw it to anybody who's ready with an answer.
Quail Man.
I was just
God,
from to I want to see I want to see
some all real monsters in there.
I want to see the toads from what's the show called?
The big
Rocko's Modern Life.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to see the toads.
They tried to bring that back. It was garbage.
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Yeah,
I'm glad
we watched it.
Did
we did. Yeah.
I don't remember. It must have been so trash. I just completely forgot it existed.
I think for me, I'd like to see. I feel like I just said it and then I forgot what it was. I'm sorry, y'all.
All Real Monsters?
Yeah, some of the monsters from All Real Monsters, because I think they could probably do some crazy shit.
Yeah,
Oblina.
Yeah, yeah. It was crazy to see that. I'm like, oh, they went way back for that.
Yeah, they did.
Like they not just.
If we had this conversation, I wouldn't even have thought of them, but it was one of my favorites. And then when I saw, I'm like, oh snap, they really wouldn't have did that. I thought Danny Phantom was cool too.
Yeah,
Danny Phantom was dope.
I thought it was cool.
That's newer age, though.
It is newer age.
That was my stuff. I love Danny Phantom.
It still had the heart. Because you know things today are
Stickly. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, Stickly.
Yeah. I don't know what he would do.
But you know something? Like the thing about, I guess they went a different direction because I guess kids changed. Mm-hmm. The cartoons are stupider now. I mean,
on a whole,
especially on Nickelodeon. I think they started on Cartoon Network. They tried to be like with Gumball's Amazing World. That was pretty good. And,
but they lose a lot of points with Annoying Orange for me.
Yeah,
it's like you lose so many points.
It's like
Uncle Grandpa.
Uncle Grandpa makes no sense to me.
Ridiculous.
I love Steven Universe, and that episode where it crossed over, I was like, "What am I watching? Did I
don't even know why that was a thing. So weird.
Can we bring back Courage?
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite cartoons. Did you see? Wait. I'm sorry. Did you see that they're doing a mashup between Scooby and Courage the Cowardly? They're putting the cartoon together.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I need to see that.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
So you're telling me now Scooby-Doo was going to be nightmare fuel? Because the pilot to Courage scarred me for so long. When the little chicken comes down, and I'm like, yo, what is this, man? I couldn't
They
deal
live
with that.
in the middle of nowhere. Yes.
Yeah.
that show made me deeply uncomfortable. I could never watch it.
Yes, me too.
It's so good. Now we're here playing horror games, but can't stand Courage.
I don't play many horror games at all for a reason. Yeah. Stupid dog stays with me. Let's move on to our second last news story. Netflix reportedly plans to add first games in the next year. This is coming from Eurogamer, written by Tom Phillips. Netflix is moving forward with its plans to get into gaming in a big way. Mm-hmm. The streaming giant has now hired former EA, Oculus, and Zynga exec Mike Verdu as vice president of game development, Bloomberg has reported, and is set to add its first games to a subscription offering within the year. So they basically go on to say that there's currently no plans to raise prices. They're not going to have a separate tier for games. It will be bundled into the existing subscription. Now, what I want to know, and Yin and Rell, I'll ask you guys first. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Netflix is getting into games to make their own, or do you think they're going to be grabbing other games and throwing them onto their service? Are we going to see The Witcher and other games thrown on, or do you think they're getting into it in their own way? Because we don't have confirmation either way yet.
I think eventually, right? But I don't think initially they're just gonna, if they do it the right way, like they're saying, I think we all, even when Stadia came out, it's like, oh. We all said, why don't they just do it like Netflix? Because the issue, it's two issues with that. And I think that even when talking about a platform like that, you have to allow the user to obtain the license for a game at some point. Mm-hmm. Because when you rotate your games, like Netflix tends to do with their shows, you would lose that game until it comes back on the platform.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought that was the problem. I said, Stadia is kind of stupid. It's like you having people throwing money in the garbage to a platform that doesn't look like it's really working. So if they want to buy a full price game off of Stadia, not a subscription plan, you don't have a computer to run it because you got it because you wanted to stream. And even if you did own the game, a digital version of the game, you could never, you won't eat when the service is gone, you can't play it unless you buy an expensive rig to play it. I think Netflix doing that as a streaming service, as long as they allow you to obtain, especially probably at a discounted rate, right? So if you can obtain the game at a discounted rate before they get rid of it, it's sort of a win. As long as it's a discounted rate, you don't want to play full price for a game that you already playing for, that you already and you already paid for the service. So you don't want to play full price for a game, you pay for a service. And I believe Stadia, you had to pay for a service and you had to pay for the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Stadia gives you, like with their subscription service, gives you games every month. But if you want to play anything outside of that catalog, you're buying them. I think that's a really interesting point that I hadn't even thought about, because if you have a save file and you're playing something and the game leaves the service, what are you going to do? Destinee, does this news do anything for you? Are you excited about the idea of games being more available? I know you love Apple Arcade, right? And Game Pass is fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you think they stand a chance in this space?
I definitely do. I think like people are always looking at Netflix like from the beginning, like this shit's not going to work, and like look at them now. I also think they're going to get like, they may start off with like other basically trademarked games, but I think what they really want to do is make their own games. I feel like the people who are like, because they're taking stuff that like we grew up with. I really feel like the people who run Netflix are like our generation. And I feel like they want to make their own games. Like they're seeing the money in it, and Netflix has always been kind of like where they see money happening, they kind of step in and do a little bit too. So I think if they do start making their own games, we won't really have to worry about that whole rotation, because it'll be their game, right? And then I think a lot of people pitch to Netflix and et cetera, because they're more open to different ideas. So I really think this is like a good opportunity for indie games and indie creators to like step to Netflix and be like, hey, we got this game. And we really, and that's a great platform to even have like your game on, right? Because so many people have Netflix in their home. What I'm wondering is, how are you going to play the game? Like, are they going to come out with controllers? Like, like what? That's what I'm worried about, because like nobody's going to want to play it with their.
Well, they already have it. Like, they already have like. I guess I'm thinking more of. I'm thinking of Amazon. So I'm like, you get Amazon. So there's always. So when you do have Netflix, and this is kind of crazy to think about it, if they sort of, and they probably won't be allowed to. But if they just make a way where you can use it through your Xbox, or you can use it through your PlayStation,
they could do that,
or use it through your smart TV, because smart TVs hook up to your controllers, or
that
you
might
use
be
your Fire Stick. But that's all competition, and just like Sony does not allow, or Microsoft don't allow you to use like Sony products with their shit. You know what I mean? Sometimes like so like if you tried to like, remember when they had the Zoom, and you couldn't use Microsoft had Zoom. And then you couldn't use the iPod with fucking
Zoom
Xbox. So that competition is like, that's like letting your competitor in your store.
I don't remember having
literally.
Well, they might do like something like a partnership too. Like I just never know with big companies. But I'm
that's
excited
tough, because Netflix. That's like Amazon said, let us put like a you can go in Walmart, and you can go in here, and you can go sort of, you're going to kill Walmart. Because nobody, like, you can go, we're going to put kiosks so they can order stuff from Amazon and Walmart. You know what I mean? We'll give you a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's like the same thing as like, we literally going to put this wolf into because Netflix, with that, they may not have the much money, but it's the accessibility. They said that they're not going to charge you more, that they're going to allow the games to be right on that platform. And if you're already enjoying that, and then you like, oh, they got games too, let me go check that out. It's so easy because it's in so many homes already. Everybody has Netflix now. That it's hard. It's such going to be easy transition, because if you're a gamer, you probably got Netflix because you don't watch regular TV.
Right.
And so then you're going to go ahead and you're going to let me try this. Oh, they got this game on here. Let me go try that. That just came out yesterday. They got it on there, so let me go try it. So
I think they were bound to get into gaming.
Oh yeah,
they had
absolutely.
Minecraft on there for a little bit. Where
Yeah,
it was
they
Minecraft
did.
Your Story.
Oh
so.
yeah,
Story
they
mode, yeah.
had they got that in a bunch of different. They had like a Puss in Boots one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
they messed around with like the choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
I think this.
They've dipping their toes in it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with this one just depends on accessibility. Like, if you're able to hook up your controllers, like, I mean, Stadia works with almost any controller. I think Game Pass is allowing more and more too now.
Yeah.
So as long as they kind of let you use the controllers that you have,
Apple does too.
Yeah. So like, I mean, as long as it's that, and then like, as long as they figure out their storefront, I think they could be onto something interesting here. Last story, and I know that's the one that had Destinee and I both excited and already pre-ordered. Reserved.
Yeah.
A $400 handheld gaming PC coming from Tom Marks at IGN. After rumors in May, Valve has officially announced the Steam Deck, a handheld gaming PC arriving later this year. The Steam Deck has a form factor similar to that of a slightly larger Nintendo Switch, both capabilities of a full gaming PC. So Valve has gone into deep dives now. They've talked a lot about how there's 3 different pricing structures that basically the internals are the same. What differs mostly is just storage and how quickly you're going to be able to access it in terms of the storage facility. Do you have a hard drive? Or do you have a solid state drive? You're going to be able to install basically anything on it. You can wipe the Steam OS off, install Windows if you want. They're basically letting you do whatever you want with this thing. Reservations, if you've missed them, they are still there, but now the time links are getting lengthier and lengthier. It went from coming this winter to the end of next year. So
did they?
People, yeah,
did they? That's fucking
the what's it called? The reservations, because now Destinee and I got reservations in.
Yeah.
Now this is not a pre-order. This is a reservation to get a pre-order or to be able to purchase it, because they're trying to do something to stop scalpers, which is a big problem, especially with new devices. So they're doing a lot. I think this idea is really, really cool. Being able to install, different emulators on it, being able to install, have your Steam games on the go, giving me another reason to play Persona 4 Golden with me on the go. I already have my Vita. Give me a second reason. I'll buy it every time. I think this is a really, really cool device, and if they stick the landing with this, if it's what they promise that it will be, where you'll be able to play
It'd be incredible.
games, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah,
I know Destinee and I are amped. We've both already got our reservations in. What about for you guys? As are you excited about the prospect of the Steam Deck?
I'm excited as a developer. I'm excited because it's like, we just do Steam and you're on a console now, right? So so you just do that now. You're on a console now. And what I also, as a developer, I want it to be accessible. Right now, it does not sound accessible to everybody. It sounds accessible to the hardcore PC gamer. And one of the big reasons why is because it has, out the box, is based on Linux, right? So a lot of games that are not compatible with Linux won't be able to be played through the Steam box unless you wipe it and put Windows on it.
Exactly.
But the majority of the consumers are not going to want to do that.
Yeah.
So
with a brand new console that they just got, they're like,
now everybody is going to kind of be, as a developer, everybody's going to kind of have to sort of develop their game with Linux in mind in order to get to as much people that's going to have this Steam. I was going to call it Steam box, the Steam Deck. So that's my only thing. And that's why I look at it like, man, you really want it. Like, it's not like you don't get the Switch and be like, oh, you can't play every game in the Nintendo store.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you get to the thing like, oh, you can play this, but you can't play this, that. It's going to be such a long list of things you can't engage with unless you wipe it. You put the regular Windows on it, and you can have the regular Steam client on it.
What I think is interesting is the fact that we are doing the whole reserve thing, and this is giving them time to hear what people want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, the further they push it out, I feel like that's going to be important, because I do think by the time this comes out, it will have Windows on it. Because I can't see them just releasing it with Linux. That's all they have so far, but I can't see that.
The only thing about that is
have to get the license
that'll start
for
driving
it.
prices up. Exactly. They'll have to start getting licenses for it.
That's right.
Which, I mean,
That's
Microsoft
true.
is not kind with their Windows licenses anymore.
I mean, I might just have to drop down to the cheapest one. I'm getting one regardless.
And even with that, like, again, it's like Microsoft, I'll be looking at the side. It's funny, like, when the Switch came out, I'm like, the reason why this is doing so well is because it should. When the Switch came out, I was like, all consoles should kind of do this now, where you can dock it, right?
Mhm.
And you can go on the go. It's really not about going on the go. It's just that it's just so convenient.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Extremely
It's just so
convenient.
convenient.
It was really smart of them. That was a smart move.
And I
Yeah.
saw it. I was like, oh, and then the Steam Deck comes up, and they like blowing up just like that, and it's
Yeah.
Steam of all
Yeah.
things. It's not
I'm
like
really
when Steam ever
surprised they
did.
didn't do it earlier because
Yeah,
it's just always been about video games, but like they've
Yeah.
been really slow when it
Yeah.
comes to hardware.
Yeah, they make attempts, and the attempts, like we got a Steam Link. I like it. It's not the most stable thing in the world, but I like that.
Mhm.
We take it upstairs and we can hook it up. But and then they had the Steam boxes, which really wasn't Steam specific. It was just like people got the license to call their
Yeah.
Steam. And then the Steam controller, which I was wondering, were they still selling those? You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah, I didn't even bought that. I just thought that was pointless though.
Yeah. I think it had a little cool thing where it had the area that you can use as a mouse, but I'm not sure how
I'm gonna just use my mouse.
yes.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the Steam Deck. You can plug anything into it and it's
Yeah.
gonna work.
Yeah.
So
And it has that little
The
mouse
deck-
pad thing on it.
Mhm.
As well.
They're working on the deck. The deck is not
Yeah.
out yet.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
They
the,
haven't
the dock. I'm sorry, the dock is not
Yeah.
ready yet. They're working on the dock.
I think if they get this set up properly, it's gonna be fantastic. I'm
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
excited about the prospect of it, and I hope they figure it out because I think you make a very good point with Linux. And if people
Yeah.
aren't developing on Linux already, then they might run into issues. But
Yeah.
we will see as more information becomes available. That, everyone, brings us to this very long but incredibly fun
Yo,
episode. I have had a blast.
Yeah, I had an
Mhm.
amazing time. It doesn't even feel like it's been an hour.
I know.
and 40
That's what I
minutes.
mean.
Doesn't-
Yin and Rell, I want to thank you both so much for coming on. Very
No problem.
quickly,
Thanks
before
for
we
having
wrap
us.
up, where can people find and learn more about the incredible universe that you're building?
Okay, so we have our central hub is whiteguardianstudios.com. That's where we have everything. And we also have our comics on celestialtier.com, but also webtoons. You can look up Celestial on Webtoon. That's our anthology series that goes through a lot of things that's in our universe, characters, concepts, and everything in between. And you can also find us on Twitter at Yin and Rell, on Twitch at Yin and Rell, and a lot of other stuff, but I'm gonna leave that right there.
And
We're
Patreon,
gonna- we're gonna post
Yeah,
everything.
the one with the money.
Yeah, the one with the money.
Don't forget about that one. That was important.
Don't forget,
Yeah.
that's the important one.
Yeah.
That should have been the first one. Our Patreon is. But you guys, we're going to leave all of those links at the bottom so it's easy access for you to go follow them. Please go follow them. Show them some support because they're incredible. I mean, you just listen to them. They're amazing. They're like the Cosby Game family.
It's been an absolute blast talking to you. And Destinee, we have our own quick piece of news.
Oh, we do.
We're coming up on episode 100 in just a few weeks, and we have so much planned. Destinee, what are just some of the things that we're doing?
Yo, we're doing a giveaway. We have some amazing sponsors. We have Ubisoft Canada. We have Freedom Games. We have Xbox something.
Kind
we have
of.
can't really say too much on it. We have like a surprise from someone else. We have some amazing guests. And like, guys, it's so easy for you to just join the giveaway. All you have to do is like follow us on Twitter and like all of our shit. Just
Yes, there will be a giveaway link that we will be tweeting out very shortly that gives you all the information and gives you the ways that you can enter, because make sure you go through the giveaway link so that we can track you guys and make sure that you're entered properly so we don't miss you if you do win. There's like 20 some odd prizes we're giving away, so we have a lot coming. But very quickly, Yin and Rell, once again, thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I hope you join us again in the future because it was way too much fun talking to you.
Yeah, no, you got to come back.
Yeah.
You got to come back, please. And we're all going to play that game together. I haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. And that brings us to the end. You can catch us on youtube.com/burnoutbrighter. Destinee is at DNBC32 on Twitter. I'm at burnout_Matt. Our third co-host who couldn't make it tonight is at burnout_Darren. Find us all over the place. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you guys on the next one. For all of us, thanks for watching. Peace out.
Deuces. I'm gonna need you to
And
draw
to
this and
this
make me
day-
a sandwich while you at it. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Jack.
That, you know what?
That's
it was
my
the
life.
sandwich. It
That was the sandwich I brought.
It was the sandwich.
The sandwich I
Yes.
brought, the
Yes.
dry sandwich, because remember you said it was dry.